Greentoba is a multimedia initiative highlighting energy-efficient technologies for Manitoba's diverse communities, including newcomers and refugees. By addressing barriers such as availability and awareness, it aims to educate and expand the market for these technologies. My name is Ryan Funk. Join me as we explore efficient technologies and programs here in Manitoba with Greentoba.
My name is Thurman Darby Essie, but I go by Darby. I am from Sioux Valley Dakota Nation. It is a reserve that is southwest of Manitoba. And what I do for an energy advocate is I lower hydro bills for the community members of Sioux Valley. And I also go visit other communities and see if they're interested in doing the same project as I am.
What got you first interested in becoming an energy advocate? It doesn't seem like something that, just happens overnight. What was that process to get involved in that position?
Before this, I was a chef, training to become a chef. And I started to understand more on how the environment is important to us and also how much electricity is being used. So while I was volunteering with our environmental group, I was working with them from pretty much just giving a hand and everything and learning about the little processes of the environment. And then energy advocate position came up. They wanted to show everybody in the group the position so anybody could apply. So it wasn't just a job that was given to me. I actually had to go through the applying and then also going through the screening process and going through the interviews and doing all that before I got a call back. And it was just something that I was willing to try. This was not a planned career. It wasn't something that I was thinking that I would be doing right now.
Well, I think it's one of those things that people don't really think about in their day-to-day life about how much electricity is being used. Everyone sees their bill, but it's just one of those things of like, oh, my bill's high this month, but not necessarily understanding what the breakdown of the bill is. And for the Sioux Valley community, how much money that could mean in savings for individuals by changing lifestyle and looking at funding opportunities for more efficient technologies. In your role as an energy advocate, what does the day-to-day look like? I know from some of our conversations that you've got a lot of new projects in the work, but let's start from the very beginning. When you got on that role, what was your process and interactions with your community?
The first thing that was when I got hired was that I was told to help out the homes. So I said, no problem. We have programs that can help out the homes here in Sioux Valley. So I was just attending community events, talking with random people who were in the office and starting to introduce to the programs that we have. Now that's where I was able to go visit some homes because I'd rather get the permission first than just showing up out of the blue because a lot of homes here in Sioux Valley don't really like that. So when I was approaching them and looking at their homes and looking around and seeing what we can do to help them, I noticed that there's a lot of homes that needed more than just one thing done to it. With Efficiency Manitoba, we were able to cover most of this up. But then there was other construction that had to be done too. So that's where I was able to join a nonprofit organization called Aki Energy, and they introduced me to geothermals plus the ERP, the Emergency Repair Fund. Once we started going along the processing, that's when they introduced that we could get community members trained up in geothermal. So I took that opportunity right away. And I started with just myself with learning a little bit about it. And then I got me plus 5 other community members to go take training up in Selkirk, Manitoba. Now, with going up there with Selkirk, Manitoba, there had to be some cost covered. So that's where Efficiency Manitoba came in. And then they started helping out with funding to get us there, plus meals, and also for covering most of the training. With getting our certificates within say it took a year process. Now, the reason why it takes a year process is because the ground has to be soft. So when it's winter months, you can't really do that. So we focus more on the technology side of it. We focus on the what the machines are, how to set up loops, how to set up work plans. And then once we were done that with a 2 week process, plus getting our certification to able to install stuff, we were able to go back during the summer months and able to install a whole system into an airplane hangar. Now, the reason why we started off with an airplane hangar is because our teacher said, if you start with the hardest stuff now with the teacher, the easier stuff later will be easy. So we're actually seeing that now. We're seeing like we don't have to do a 8,000 loop system. It's more of a 100. So seeing those differences actually helped out a lot. So I thank our teacher for that, Brett Loffer.
Sounds from this process as an efficiency advocate, it's not just that you've changed people's lives by adjusting their bills and getting some of their things in their houses fixed. It's training people, giving people the expertise and tools to bring the community further forward.
Exactly. And that was one of my goals when I first got the job, was that I wanted to bring employment of future technologies to our community so we can start focusing on our community members on careers. Because I understand with my old career as being a training, be trained to become a chef,
Yeah.
that if you have something that's set that you want to do, it'll take you further. Because if you only have something that maybe you might have for a season or a year, you can't really make big plans. And when you can't do that, it really puts a hold on you, especially your financial.
When we're looking at those homes, you're mentioning that, there wasn't just one thing that need to be fixed or changed. And you had to take advantage of not just Efficiency Manitoba's programs, but the Emergency Repair Fund and other implements. What were those things that need to be changed in homes?
One thing that I have learned with construction is that you might have the funding to fix a door, but once you get to that door and start opening up, there might be other things inside of there that need to be fixed too to make it more stable and more energy efficient. So you might have to replace the framing around it. The number one thing, you might open something and there'll be mold, and you have to get rid of that mold. So you would have to hire somebody from the community or outside of the community to come in to take care of that problem. That's one thing that was really brought up to me by our housing was that if you're going to go fix something, we might as well fix it all.
Of course.
Before we even go inside the home, make a plan. So we make that plan. We try to execute it as best as we can. Right now, we're getting to the point where we are going to be ordering our windows and our doors and also siding. Now, we've already went to the home. We've already did our processing of seeing what is going to be, what we're going to need to do, and what type of contractors we're going to need.
When you're going to evaluate a home, what sort of things are you looking at? You mentioned here siding, windows, and things. Why are having those sorts of items, things that people might take for granted on their home, why are those important things to be looking out for in that evaluation and repair process?
When we're looking at the home and you're looking at those items are really key factors of leakage of air. So if you have any holes in your siding, that's air that is getting inside and penetrating the wall, which is not meant to be covering those. And then also when it comes to the windows, we have gone through so many phases of windows, not just Sioux Valley, but like everywhere. So like we have what are called tiers. So there's three tiers. There's tier one, tier two, tier three, each one getting better than the other. And now in Sioux Valley, we haven't updated some of the homes and the windows. So some of them are sitting at tier one. And when they're sitting at tier one, it's pretty much just one glass and a bunch of air is hitting it, but there's some that is getting through. But now if you have another tier behind it, it keeps hitting it, but a little goes through. And if you have a third one, it captures it all.
And it creates those almost blankets of air for keeping the heat or cold in summer and the heat or cold out at the same time.
Yes, yes. And that's the same thing with doors. Now, there's some doors that you could go up to and then you can knock on them. Now, some of them might sound hollow, some of them might sound stiff. Now, depending on which door that you got, if they're stiff and they're wooden, that's just straight wood. And wood gets cold and that will seep through. Now, if there is no insulation inside of there, you have no protection and it's also getting stored in between. So it's seeping through all throughout the door. Now, if you have an insulated door, it has that cushion of insulation inside there where the wind or any type of cold or heat that comes through gets captured inside and reflects back out. So it's pretty much just like a barrier or a cloud that keeps all of the bad, not bad, but the type of stuff that during the season that you don't want inside the home out.
And through that process, then you're not using as much energy. If you're losing all your heat on the inside during winter, you got to keep your furnace or some other heating device on longer. And then vice versa in summer. You want to keep your inside cool. I mean, you'd rather keep your house cool than trying to cool the outside.
Exactly. My mom always taught me that.
What sort of things are you witnessing within Sioux Valley community? You're coming in, making these developments, and of course, there's still work that needs to be done. But what are some of the things that you're seeing? Has people's lives improved at all?
Oh, yes. For a long time, actually, I've been hearing this from community members that they wanted to get started on this, but they never had the person who was dedicated to do it and also willing to go learn about it. As soon as I was starting to get into it and talking to people and showing that we're going to these training sessions, we're going to the school pretty much for geothermal, uh, they were getting hope. And that's one thing that I want to bring to the people is at least we're trying, we're doing it. And I'm not me myself. I'm willing to help out my community as long as I possibly can because I want to fix up my home. And to do that, you got to show that dedication.
That's also the benefit of having someone within the community learning about there because it creates that sense of trust with the community that it's not just someone from the outside saying, hey, here's programs and initiatives. Oh, you need to change your home. Blah, yada, yada, yada. If you're hearing that from like a third party entity or something, just saying that about your community, there's a lot of hesitation, especially in Indigenous communities. Like the government has not been fair to Indigenous communities for a very long time. So having someone like yourself going there training, it creates that sense of closeness, that sense of community that you can go there and talk with people and they know who you are and they can put a face to these programs and initiatives.
Exactly. When it comes to that, it's also like it also depends on the family too, because when it comes to well, there has been years and years of where trust has been broken. Now, personally, myself, I've been proving it to my community since I've been in school. I've never judged anybody. I've never tried to belittle anybody. I always tried to help because so that's what I was taught. Now that goes on whenever I'm doing that stuff. I always get reminded from my community members saying, "Oh, you're just like your well, in Dakota, Kushi means grandma. You're just like her. You also have a brain just like her." Now that's a big compliment to myself. I love whenever I hear that, but it also shows that they're at least trusting me because the family before me built that trust. Now, when they built that trust, I want to keep that going. I don't want to be able to one day be hearing uh, Darby didn't want to help us because such and such did this. No, that's not me. I stay away from that. If you might have done something that was bad in the past, but we're looking to the future. And when we look into the future, that's how we help each other.
Exactly. It's about building that community, building those relationships, and every aspect goes a long way. And I mean that it has tangible effects, as you mentioned. It saves money on people's energy bills. It improves the home that they're living in. And when someone has a nicer home, it improves all aspects of your life you're more inspired to get out there. If your house is cold all the time, you're spending a lot of money. That's a lot of stress on you. You don't necessarily have the energy to go out and help others as well.
It also brings with me the younger generation. The younger ones younger than me. I just turned 31. So I understand that through the old 20s, you're still trying to find your way. Now, if they see me doing what I'm doing, and I'm showing this positivity to our community, I have already a few people who are willing to go do this training just because they know it's going to help our community. They know it's going to lower our energy bills. It's going to help the environment. And also, we're able to get more people into it too because they know more people than I would.
And it creates potential jobs in the future. These people get trained, they might eventually be able to go out to other communities, train others, get new job opportunities for installing geothermal. But that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Exactly. Now I have bigger plans when it comes to the to our natural energy. We're working on geothermals. Well, to me, it made more sense if you're going to be saving up to 40 to 50% of your hydro bill, you would go with the bigger percentage of saving. Now, when it comes to solar panels, which everybody loves, everybody, and I don't diss them at all, it's just as they don't save as much energy. Now, this is where a strategic plan came in my mind of if you have a system inside of a home that's already saving a huge amount, what if you add these little things to start saving more? So 50%, and you add in a solar panel, what could be 20 to 30%, goes up to 70 to 80% of saving your hydro bill. Now, who wouldn't want that?
Exactly. So, the improvements and benefits that you've seen within Sioux Valley, do you think it can be an inspiration to other First Nation communities and areas to maybe get an energy advocate for themselves? Or if not, be able to have you go check out? Is that something that's on your radar, wanting to visit other communities?
Yes, but I also want to create more jobs, just like how I'm doing here in Sioux Valley. So I do encourage more communities to get an energy advocate. Now, I don't mind traveling. I don't mind. That's just something I like to do. But if we could get somebody inside the community who doesn't have a job and has maybe a passion or maybe same thing as me, kind of just falls along on it and ends up loving it, then we're just creating more jobs and creating more opportunity for people. And that is really what how the human race will be able to survive. Because instead of one person being greedy and knowing all the knowledge, share it with everybody. Why teach somebody how to fish with a fishing rod when you could show them a net?
Through your role as an energy advocate, what do you think is the most significant thing that you've taught people about that information that you shared that will be beneficial to your community? And what information do you think will be beneficial to other communities moving forward?
When it comes to benefiting, not just helping themselves but their community, it's really just what is that? It's the two wide seeing. Now there's a way of when you teach this type of stuff. Like not every Aboriginal culture is the same. So there might be something where I go and I teach them, but they might have something to teach back to me. So that's where I find the beneficiary into that because I was training to become a chef. And then when I got into this role, it was a big 180. When I go to other communities, it would be probably be the exact same thing. So when we're trying to teach it to each other, there might be other things that could help with me because I've been learning this process not just by myself, but with multiple people. And every single person that helps me, I'm willing to take that knowledge and go share it off with other people. And when I share that knowledge with other people in other communities, that's just spreading more knowledge, spreading more, creating opportunities, and also really trying to find a way. Because that's another thing too with other nations is that some of them they're trying to get people involved, they're trying to get people doing this, and just some of them just don't know. So if there's somebody who's willing to teach them and probably bring them with them, they're willing to more follow.
So it sounds like the bedrock in energy efficiency, and not just that, about moving forward, improving communities, is collaboration.
Exactly. Yes.
So, Darby, for someone who's listening to this and they're getting interested, where can they go to find out more information about energy advocacy? Or, as you mentioned throughout this conversation, there are programs through Efficiency Manitoba that can improve their community. What are those programs, and where can people go to find out more information and get more involved?
With Efficiency Manitoba, you can go onto their website, efficiencymanitoba.ca, and they'll show you all the listing of everything that programs that you could use. It's not just for homes; it's also for your local buildings too. I actually just finished the small Indigenous building program where we're able to update some buildings with occupancy sensors, green men energy lighting saving exit signs, LED upgrades, and also installation. Now we just finished that process, and it's already starting to show already. within our bills. And then also you can reach out to myself or any type of other advocate that you follow along, because there is not just me, there is multiple others. I don't know the exact number because we're still growing. And then also, when it comes to the geothermals, I would contact Aki Energy at akienergy.ca. They say exact same thing. They will be able to show the numbers of who to call, who to contact, and how to get yourself into that program.
Well, Darby, thank you so much for taking this time to chat with us. Hopefully, we inspire others and continue to not only reduce CO2 emissions, create a greener future, but provide more opportunities and improve communities across Manitoba and Canada.
Canada could reach net zero by the time they say they want to reach net zero. Awesome. But also be flexible. Also be flexible, because you never know until we get those people in the right positions and are willing to do it. That's when we'll be able to do it.
This project was developed in partnership with Efficiency Manitoba. Find out more from industry experts and community advocates at u-channel.ca/Greentoba.